Welcome to Webster Now with your host, Garrett Wagner.
You remember group projects, right? There's the overachiever who color codes the slides. There's a person who says, hey, I'll handle citations, and then disappears. And there's a group warrior sending 47 messages about the cover page. And then there's always the moment, 5 minutes before the submission, when someone says, wait, is this the right file? That's Webster right now. A mix of the good, the bad, and everything smacked in between. So let's see how the proverbial group project in our beloved town is shaped up since last episode. Because on the February 5th town board meeting, it kicked off by honoring 4 brave people jumping into freezing water to save a woman trapped in a car in the Target parking lot. Meanwhile, a sign goes up on Hard Road, United Buffet, all you can eat. And suddenly, 222,000 people are in a group chat. We had more engagement over egg rolls than some school board elections. And while the group chat is arguing about crab lagoons, the comprehensive plan is moving forward. Zoning maps, 4 key areas, 20 residents in a room. That's the boring section of the assignment, but it's the one that actually determines the grade. And then comes a town board meeting where all multiple votes just don't move forward. Wrong scope, no cap, motions tabled. That's who uploaded draft 2 instead of the final kind of moment. And when they enter executive session, that's the breakout room, folks. No cheating, structured discussion. But if you understand it, it looks suspicious from the hallway. Finally, we'll end with local events, with an amazing pizza party, because even messy group projects get one, right? And just a quick reminder, everything here today is my perspective only. Nothing here said reflects official town policy or action. So let's have a closer look at this week's group contributions. Every group project has one person who doesn't argue, doesn't overthink, doesn't send 12 messages asking what everybody else is doing. They just quietly get it done. And on December 23rd in the Target parking lot here in Webster, a vehicle crashed into one of the ponds. A woman was trapped inside. 4 brave people jumped to her aid. Thomas Turner, Adrian Humphrey, Mohammed Jadou, and Derek Blakely. They entered freezing water to help a woman, right? Not metaphorically, actually entered the water days before Christmas, right? That's not a group chat moment. That's a close laptop and act moment. And here's why this matters beyond just seeing a powerful story, right? Because in every town, especially ours, public safety is one of those parts of the group assignment we don't think about, right? Until you desperately need the person responsible for it to have done their homework. In this case, there was no debate about policy, no discussion about optics, no waiting for perfect conditions. Something went wrong and they responded. And that's professionalism, preparation, and competence. And in a week, we're going to talk about meetings, votes, zoning, maps, and process discipline. It's important to start here, right? Because this is what it looks like when someone carries the weight of a project without asking for credit. Public safety officers train for the worst day of someone's life. In this case, they stepped up. And as a community, we should feel grateful. We should feel grounded. In a world that sometimes feels like a chaotic group assignment, this is a reminder that some people show up prepared. And when it mattered most, they delivered. Some people jump into freezing water. Some of us jump in without support. And at the February 5th town board meeting, there were multiple agenda votes that didn't succeed. And that's rare in local government. And people like to joke that the New York State Assembly has not seen a failed vote for as long as they can remember. Now, well, that might not be 100% accurate, and it's pretty close to the truth, which says something about how voting in government works, the local, the state, and national level, right? It shows us that items are typically only brought to the floor for a vote when the outcome is highly certain, reflecting a level of prior due diligence that seems to be missing right now in the town board at Webster. So let's talk about the one motion at the February 5th town board meeting that was different. This involved a proposed project. And like the other motions, this wasn't tabled by unanimous agreement. The vote was 3-2. John Cahill, Jennifer Wright, and myself voted to table the resolution. Supervisor Sheldon and Nick Hunter voted against tabling it. Now here's why it matters. There had been prior discussion, which, to be clear, prior discussion to a board meeting, one-on-one between board members, is perfectly legal, right? There was discussion indicating the motion did not have enough support to pass. The recommendation was to hold off on it, to not bring it to the floor for a vote just yet. But it was brought forward anyways. And in our group project analogy, it's like when the majority of the team agrees we're not putting that section in the final draft, and the person who submits the assignment includes it anyways. Right? That's what happened here. This isn't scandal. It's not chaos. It's not some dramatic collapse of government. It was a mistake, right? Because local government needs to run on coordination. Before something hits the floor for a vote, especially something significant, you make sure the votes are there. Because when a motion fails publicly, that's notable. It doesn't happen often, and that's why it's news. But our takeaway, it's not outrage, right? It's a call for discipline. Because leadership requires timing, alignment, and understanding when to push and when to wait. And this is a moment where the submission didn't match the group consensus. And that's a reminder that alignment matters just as much as conviction. Because when it comes to agenda items, alignment can be complicated. When it comes to food, instant consensus, right? So a photo went up. We took a picture of United Buffet, all you can eat, coming soon at the old Bill Gray's on Hard Road. And suddenly, that post blew up. 222,000 views, 20,000 interactions.
Attention Scranton Business Park. There will be complimentary pretzels available in the lobby from now until 4 o'clock as a thank you to our loyal tenants.
That's some small town group chat energy at its finest. And listen, I love it, right? It tells me something important, right? People care what happens here. They care about development. They care about change. They care about what goes in at the old Bill Gray's. But here's the pivot. If we can mobilize 220,000 viewers over buffet, imagine what happens if we bring that same energy to zoning maps, green space decisions, and long-term planning. Because those decisions, they determine the grade of the group project. So if you care about what's being built, what's being preserved, and where Webster's headed, follow along, right? Stay informed, pay attention. The group chat is powerful, so let's work together to use it wisely.
But on pretzel day, well, I like pretzel day.
All right, so while the buffet post was lighting up the algorithm, about 20 residents were sitting in a room talking about the comprehensive plan. Now, I can tell you from attending this meeting, it was not the most exciting. Why? Zoning. It was all about zoning, in-depth zoning coding. Right? It sounds like the part of the group project where someone says, wait, did anyone actually read the document? But here's the thing. This is the section that determines the grade, okay? The recent comprehensive plan meeting focused narrowly on 4 specific areas of town. Not vibes, not hypotheticals, actual zoning language. What can we build? How dense? What stays open? What changes? And this is the stuff that shapes Webster's 10, 20, 30 years from now. And yes, it really gets in the weeds. And that was the energy in the room. A small group, detailed conversations, really detailed conversations about nuances of the zoning code. And here's what I want you to hear. The plan is moving forward. They're narrowing their focus. They're working through specifics. And that is a good thing. But if only 20 people are in the room, that means the direction of growth, housing patterns, commercial corridors, traffic impact, green space balance is being shaped by whoever shows up. And that's not criticism, that's math, right? In our town's group project metaphor, there are overachievers doing the research, while the rest of the class waits for summary slides. And you don't have to be becoming a zoning expert either. But if you care about development, if that buffet sign meant something to you, this is where the conversation actually lives. So stay tuned for the next meeting. Show up if you can. Ask questions. Because the boring section, that's the one that determines our future. Now, we spent all the time analyzing every item on our buffet menu. But let's bring that same energy understanding the town board meetings agenda too. Okay? Something important happened. It doesn't happen often. During that same meeting on February 5th, the town board entered executive session to hear from the police chief regarding personnel matters. Now, executive sessions tends to trigger what are they hiding reaction. But under New York State open meetings law, executive sessions are permitted for specific reasons. Personnel issues, pending litigation, collective bargaining, matters involving privacy or public safety. And here's how it works. A motion has to be made, a reason has to be stated, and typically no final action is taken inside executive session. So in our group project analogy, this isn't secret cheating, right? It's the breakout room. Some conversations legally have to happen privately, especially when they involve someone's employment or legal exposure. And private conversations does not automatically equal secrecy. But, and this part matters, it does require public trust and vigilance from the public. Right? So as always, you're free to ask questions, stay informed, understand the rules. Because transparency isn't about eliminating structure, it's about knowing how the structure works. Now, all right, we've been in the breakout room long enough. Let's talk about the part of the group project where everyone actually shows up for some fun. The Tops Rochester St. Patrick's Day Parade is coming up, so mark those calendars. Saturday, March 14th, 2026. And if you've ever stood along East Ave when the marching units roll through, you know, this isn't just a parade. It's Rochester at some of its best. Music, country flags, families bundled in green, kids on the shoulders, that guy who commits way too hard to the leprechaun outfit. Come on, you know who I'm talking about. And this year's theme, 250 years of freedom, fueled by Irish spirit. It ties in America's 250th anniversary, celebrating heritage, service, and the role Irish Americans have played in shaping the country. And here's something I love about this parade, right? Ireland's 32 counties are represented. Families sponsor counties. Volunteers carry the banner. It's tradition mixed with community buy-in, right? So in our group project metaphor, this is the pizza party. The moment where the whole class shows up, not to debate the fine print, but to celebrate the work they've all done together. They're looking for volunteers, banner holders, helpers, people who want to show up early and be part of the behind-the-scenes lift that makes it all happen. Registration check-in is at 11 a.m. at Perkins Mansion on East Ave. And yes, for you volunteers, coffee and food are provided, which, come on, let's be honest, increases participation by at least 50%. So if you've never gone, go. If you've gone for years, bring somebody new, because local government matters. Policy matters. But culture? That's what makes a place feel like home.
Excuse me. Hey, guys. How are you?
At home, that's where the energy comes out. Another exciting event on March 7th from 6 to 7:30 at the Webster Parks and Rec Center is hosting Beat the Winter Blues indoor games. Giant Connect 4, cornhole, balloon volleyball, gaga pits, bingo, hot chocolate, lemonade stand, fruit kebabs, popcorn, arts, crafts, beach zone, photo booth, music. It's a lot of stuff. And as always, it's free and it's amazing because our Parks and Rec department rocks. Just neighbors being neighbors. Winter Webster. Come feel like you belong, right? Because winter can feel heavy, especially this winter. And these events remind us why we care about the town in the first place. So bring your family, invite a friend, get out of the house, because civil engagement isn't just meetings, it's where communities come together. Because here's the truth. Webster is one giant group project. Some people jumping in freezing water to save a life. Some people lighting up the group chat over a buffet sign. Some people sit in a room with zoning maps, making decisions that are going to shape the next 30 years. Some meetings run smoothly. Some hit some friction, right? Some conversations legally happen in our breakout room. That's not dysfunction. That's democracy at the most local level. The lesson isn't everything's perfect. And it's not everything's broken. It's this: participation changes the outcome. And if you care about development, show up when zoning is discussed. If you care about fiscal discipline, watch the votes. If you care about transparency, understand the rules. If you care about community, support the events that bring people together. Because the grade on this project isn't decided by 5 people at a table. It's decided by how many residents choose to engage. And Webster, we as a town, works best when more of us do the homework. So stay informed, ask questions, use your voice, vote when it's time. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, following, and sharing it with a fellow Webster resident. The more we spread the information, the more informed our community becomes. Because at the end of the day, every step we take is a step towards a better Webster.
You've been watching Webster Now with Garrett Wagner. Join us next time for more local news and updates.